ABBA together again. I recently did a longer video about all of ABBA's reunions, from the time they went their separate ways until the big reunion a few years ago, their new studio album, Voyage. But I would like to focus on each specific era, so here are all of ABBA's reunions from recent years until this very day. It's the 20th of January 2016. All four members of ABBA came together in public, side by side, for the very first time in 30 years. And in hindsight, this event seemed to have set everything in motion that happened in the last decade. Agneta and Frida sang together for the first time in 30 years on stage. We got a brand new ABBA studio album and a new virtual concert experience created by ABBA for all fans of ABBA, an incredible period of reunion. But the road to this was long, and it was 4 decades virtually unthinkable that all four members of ABBA would even be seen together in public. In those 4 decades, we basically got all possible combinations of who appeared with whom, but they seemed to try very hard not to be seen together, all 4 of them. It was very rare that even one of the men and ladies were seen together. So today I want to talk about how they grew apart and gradually back together again, and how they eventually ended up in the recording studio for an entire new album after 40 years. June 2008, Frida, Björn and Benny attended the world premiere of Mamma Mia the movie in London. The following month, all 4 members of ABBA, Agneta, Björn, Benny and Frida, attended the Stockholm premiere of Mamma Mia the movie, and this time they were finally seen together in one photograph for the first time in over 22 years, but not side by side. Agneta and Frida were together in the center, but all the actors separated them from Björn and Benny at the specific far end. Back then, someone made this collage where the actors were cut out of the photo so that ABBA could finally be together. This wasn't the real deal, of course, but it was all we had to be happy with, at least for another 8 years. The next 2 years were possibly some of the most exciting ones, with a few unexpected surprises. In 2009, the ladies, Frida and Agneta, appeared together in public to receive and collect the Lifetime Achievement Award for ABBA in Stockholm. In 2010, Frida and Benny came together for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction of ABBA in New York City. The same year, we got another rare combination when Benny and Agneta filmed a video greeting for the opening of ABBA World in Australia, where Agneta successfully cut the ribbon. It was very nice to see the 2 of them together, and it was in fact the very first time that both alone were together since 1982. In the same year, we got a third beautiful surprise when Björn and Agneta appeared together arm in arm for the premiere of the musical Mamma Mia in Copenhagen. Finally, also in 2010, Frida and Björn attended the premiere of ABBA World. ABBA World was a traveling exhibition and basically the early version of what would evolve into the permanent official exhibition ABBA the Museum that would open in Stockholm in 2013. And for that opening, everyone assumed that the reunion of ABBA must be happening for their own museum. But it didn't. Agneta was in London to promote her new solo album A. In Stockholm, Frida, Björn and Benny came together, but they would never appear together on this occasion. Björn and Frida gave an interview together. 1 year later, the 2 of them also came together for the launch of ABBA, the official photo book, at the Tate Museum in London. So, by that point in time, for so many decades, we've had so many occasions when new life was injected into the music of ABBA. ABBA Gold, Mamma Mia the musical, the movies, ABBA's documentary, ABBA's own museum, ABBA's one and only official book. But we never got to see all 4 members of ABBA together side by side. All we ever hoped for was this one photograph. But by that point in time, it seemed impossible. Why should they do it? Just for the sake of being seen together, to be photographed together. And the thought of ABBA recording new music was entirely out of the question. And above all, everything seemed to have been done. What else could there be? There was one thing left. It turned out to be another variation of the Mamma Mia franchise. Mamma Mia, the Party. But on the 10th of January 2016, David Bowie died. Just 2 days before his death, he released his brand new and final studio album Black Star. The music videos for this album were done by two people called Johan Renck and Swana Gisla. What are the chances that those two would happen to become very important for ABBA's future legacy? But above all, this unexpected event of this album Black Star and Bowie's death seemed to have ignited a worldwide reminder of finality, mortality. I don't know if there ever was any conscious or subconscious impact for any of the members of ABBA. But 10 days later, ABBA finally reunited in public, side by side, after 30 years. It was the 20th of January 2016. A new project called Mamma Mia, the Party had its world premiere in Stockholm. On that day, all 4 members of ABBA arrived individually, one after another. For some reason, hope was in the air. During the evening, they could be seen seated at tables not too far from each other, Frida and Agneta together at one. According to a later statement from Björn, it was Frida and Agneta who approached Benny and Björn and suggested that they should walk on stage together to thank their fans. In a private video, we can see Frida talking to Björn. Benny is sitting close to them, his son Ludwig standing behind him, Agneta at another table. On ABBA's final music video in 1982, Under Attack, ABBA disappeared into the foggy light. What a marvelous scenery of finality. But then, more than 3 decades later, fog and bright lights appeared again, and out of that, finally, ABBA appeared together for the first time in 30 years, just the 4 of them as one entity. It was the very first time since their final performance in 1986, almost exactly to the date. Words just cannot describe the feelings and emotions that all of us felt back then. And as you have seen now, ABBA really kept the mystery going for decades, with many seemingly missed opportunities, but also many beautiful surprises. So to finally see them together was such a poignant and magical moment. And it literally was a moment of magic, because this moment seemed to have ignited a fate of events. 5 months later, on the 5th of June 2016, Björn and Benny threw a huge private party in Stockholm to celebrate the 50th anniversary of their friendship and working partnership. Over 350 guests were there, amongst them Agneta and Frida. They performed ABBA's song The Way Old Friends Do live on stage. Björn and Benny thanked them on stage afterwards. It was the second time in 1 year that all 4 of them were seen together. Just 4 months later, in October 2016, ABBA made headlines. ABBA set to launch new digital experience. Frida was quoted, "Our fans around the world are always asking us to reform, and so I hope this new ABBA creation will excite them as much as it excites me." No one knew by that time that this would lead to ABBA to record an entire new studio album for their fans. Let's go back in time to 1984.
Det som talar mest för det, nu kan ju bara jag ge min personliga uppfattning om det hela. Det är på något sätt så känns inte kapitlet ABBA avslutat än. Jag har en dröm, och det är att vi skulle kunna komma tillsammans igen och spela in ett album.
On the 29th of May 2017, ABBA were back together in the recording studio. In an official statement 1 year later, they said, "The decision to go ahead with the exciting ABBA Avatar project had an unexpected consequence. We all four felt that, after some 35 years, it could be fun to join forces again and go into the recording studio. So we did, and it was like time stood still, and that we only had been away on a short holiday. An extremely joyful experience. It resulted in 2 new songs." The virtual project itself would evolve for several years. Important people became director Bailey Walsh, but also Svana Gisla, Johan Renck, and Benny's son Ludwig. And along the way, ABBA decided that 2 songs weren't enough. They recorded an entire studio album. The 2 new songs premiered on the 2nd of September 2021. I Still Have Faith in You and Don't Shut Me Down. The 3rd single was Just an Ocean. The album Voyage was released on the 5th of November 2021. It went to number 1 in almost 20 countries worldwide. The final single from the album Little Things became ABBA's song for Christmas. The virtual concert experience had its world premiere on the 26th of May 2022. All 4 members of ABBA arrived together in a small cab, appeared on the red carpet, gave interviews together, and appeared on stage after the show to bow out to their fans. This new project gave us an enormous amount of photographs of ABBA in the studio, taking professional photo sessions, working on the project, attending the world premiere. As gradually as they grew apart after 1982, they somehow grew together again over the years, exactly as naturally as they came together in the first place in the 1970s. With Voyage, ABBA came back together to complete the story, to say hello, to show how friendship and love can endure, how the work they have done was just too strong. They had to come back for all the new fans, for the old ones, for themselves and all of us to have this moment in space and time, to experience this wonder just one more time, and close the book to give us a farewell. For me, it was the first time to experience the release of a new ABBA studio album and to experience ABBA for an ABBA project.